Now this is a case from Benks which I think deserves a little bit more time spent on it, because it is the first case which comes with a camera control button. A lot of manufacturers now are starting to get into the whole camera control button thing, and in previous reviews from me, you would see that I don't really use the camera control button as much, but cases do look better when they have a button as opposed to just an open case. Speaking of which, I'm going to be comparing this to my previous favorite case from Benks, which is the Aurora Pro case. Now this is a really nice case, my favorite case. Well, it's my favorite case that offers all-around protection, but it did not have a camera control button when it came out. It just had a hole. So I'm going to be comparing these two cases today to see what the improvements are. First things first, the packaging from Benks looks very normal, and I think that's probably not a good thing, because it's not obvious that this case has the camera control button, and I think at this particular time when you're getting cases with the button and without the button, I think they could have made that a little bit more obvious on the front of the box that this case actually does have the camera control button, because as you can see, it doesn't look much different from the case without the camera control button. So without further ado, let's go ahead and unbox this and have a look at it. And there we go, fresh out of the box. Here's the case in all its glory. Now it does come with a little insert with a kind of a fake iPhone there, so we'll get that out first of all. And then there's this nice little tab on it as well, which I will also remove now. Like so. That's a nice touch. And there we go. Now this is the Prestige Armor-Pro case built with Kevlar from Benks, and it costs $44.99 in British pounds. That's how much you'd pay for it if you bought it from the UK, and that's on the upper regions of what cases cost these days. You can compare it to the original Apple case, for example, which costs, I don't know, I can't remember how much that costs now. So the Apple silicone case, as a point of reference, costs, let me see, £49 now. So this Benks case being pretty much £45, you're competing with premium cases. So this case has got to be a premium case for the amount of money you're paying for it. It has been made with DuPont Kevlar, licensed from DuPont, as you can see printed on the inside. It's got the MagSafe compatibility, and it's got so it's definitely stiff, but it has got the bit of silicone around the edges, or whatever it is, TPU or whatever it is around the edges, to give a nice soft interface between your phone and the case. It has got a metal camera ring, as all of the premium cases should be at this point. Now, as for the color of the camera ring, it's kind of it's not really a bronze, it's a very champagne-y gold kind of color. That's how I would best describe it. And of course, we have the ever popular camera control button. Now, how does that look compared to the Apple camera control? Let's see. It looks very similar. I mean, maybe the Apple camera control is a bit less shiny. The Benks camera control is a bit bigger, so that might make it easier to use. But we'll decide that for sure when we've actually put the case on the phone. The buttons are all metal, which is what a premium case should have as well. And these are also in a nice champagne gold color. They look really nice. I wonder if this will go really well with the titanium, with the desert titanium phone. Of course, I have the black titanium phone, so we'll be testing it with that. I like that the buttons are nice and loose and rattly. Don't know if you can hear that. Yep, that means it's gonna have very little resistance of its own, and you're gonna feel the tactile effect of the original iPhone button when you press it, which is the best way to have buttons, really. So I kind of like this color combination. It's very deserty. Brown isn't my favorite color, but it's not a bad brown, and it's a very subtle change between the brown and the black as well. And we've got these little color bands here. I like the way that they have the Kevlar curve, the way it interfaces with the TPU. That shows that they've put a bit of effort into design, and also the buttons don't come directly out of the side of the case either. They have a little lip around it, which is just another nice design detail. And it's the same on the power button on the other side as well. Oh, this is interesting. If you have a look at the inside of the camera control button, you can see how it's kind of I don't know, it's got little bits. Whereas the original camera control button, it's black, but actually now that I look closer, it is kind of ribbed as well. So maybe that has something to do with transmitting the swipes from your finger to the actual button on the phone. That's a really interesting detail there. As usual, this case has all of the bump protection on the inside. All of these little grooves here are meant to absorb shock from drops. There's a nice curvature of the Kevlar around the TPU on the bottom. And we have little holes drilled for the speakers instead of giant cutouts, which is what I like. And we have some nice curvature of the Kevlar around these buttons here as well. So that's pretty much for the external of this case. Let's just quickly compare it to the Aurora case, which is my previous favorite case from Benks. As you can see, the construction is very, very similar, except of course for the camera button. I mean, look how much better having a camera button there looks than just having a hole. It is a marked improvement in looks. But as for the rest of the case, you'll see the cutouts and so on are exactly the same. The buttons are metal as well, although the color is different. Everything else is the same. The camera ring on the Aurora case I think is metal as well because it's cool to the touch. So they're both metal, and there's a difference in color for you. And they look pretty much the same on the inside as well. Which means I don't actually have to do all of the measurements and tests on this case again. All of the measurements and tests would be exactly the same as for the Aurora case. So I'll leave a link that in the description below if you want to get more details into like the amount of screen protection, bump protection, camera protection, and so on. What I'll focus on today is just how this case looks. So, Prestige Armor-Pro case, black iPhone 16 Pro. Let's put them together and see how they look. Nice and solid to go in, not too much force. I think that's absolutely perfect fit. So it looks on the front. So yeah, this has definitely got the same level of protection that the Aurora case had. And you know, I think it actually looks pretty good with the black phone, because a lot of the phone is black, obviously. A lot of the case is black. The cameras on the iPhone are black, and then you just have this champagne gold ring there, which matches with the rest of the case. So yeah, that's actually a pretty good look. As for the fit, it went on really well. And there's not a lot of bending and coming away of this side, except of course a little bit by the USB port, which is expected, of course. Let's see how well the ports line up. USB port and speaker and microphone ports line up perfectly. Obviously the buttons line up perfectly, we can't see them though. And this camera button. Right, so let's go ahead and test the buttons. First of all, let's start with the usual ones. So I'll start with the power button. Very nice and clicky. I'll put it near the mic so we can just hear that. Power button, volume up and down, very nice and clicky. And camera control button. Did I say camera control? I meant action button. Works really well. Now, for the camera control button, how does this work? So for the few of you out there who actually use this button, let's test it out. So right now I have it set up as a single click to activate the camera. So click, camera activates. So we're gonna try things out like half press, zoom. Okay, that works really well. That works really nice. I can't tell any difference between how that works, how that's working right now, and just using the button on the phone. Yeah, let's see if we could change some more set. Oh, I just started recording. You see why I don't like this button? So I'll stop recording and half press to try to change some control. So half double press. Let's zoom again. Half double press. This is so fiddly. Let's try the exposure. So yeah, it is changing the exposure. Oh, I started recording again. This button sucks, people. All right, let's go to, what can we do? You know what? Let's go to photo. Maybe we'll have a bit more options for control. So yeah, so now I control like the zoom, the cameras, the styles. Let's see what styles does. So I can go through the styles like so. Double press to do something else. Change cameras. So that's the selfie camera, hello. The wide angle, 1x, 2x, 5x. So this camera control works really well. It works just as well as the control on the phone itself. There are no complaints at all about the camera control button. Plus, look how much better it looks. I mean, as I said, I don't use the camera control. I like it because it makes the case look like a complete case and not just, you know, not just a cutout because you didn't really know what to do at that time when they were introducing these new phones with a new camera button. As far as looks go though, I have to say, I don't know. I think it's a toss-up between the looks of one or the other. Tell you what, let me swap cases real quick so we'll have an idea of how each one looks, and then you can decide for yourself which one you prefer based on looks. So comes out really easily. There we go. So that's the Aurora. Now, personally, I think I will have to lean slightly towards the Aurora because I do like the darker colors. I mean, that's why I bought a black iPhone in the first place. And you've got the black buttons and the little orange thing on the black action button. And then, of course, you have this cutout. So, you know, personally, I prefer the Aurora, just based 100% on looks. Hopefully, Benks will come out with the Aurora case with the camera button. In fact, the hope is that eventually all of their cases, all of their premium cases like these are going to have the camera control button instead of just a hole. I mean, looks are really up to you. So you've seen my black iPhone 16 Pro in each of these cases now, so you can decide which one you actually like better. As far as grip is concerned, let me just put the case on the review back onto the phone. Sorry. As far as grip goes, it's just the same as it's just the same as all of Benks' other cases. They have like a kind of a rough texture on the Kevlar. It's the same as on the Aurora. It's the same as on the Golden Tide. It's the same as on the Armor Tint. Hey, actually, now that these are next to each other, those browns look pretty much identical, but there's a difference in the color of the camera ring. On the Armor Tint, it's kind of more like a yellowy bronze, but on the Prestige, it's more like a champagne gold. Hey, well, I guess maybe that's why it's the Prestige one, right? So because it's the same kind of finish, it is going to affect it just like any of the other cases. And I've done my disgusting test already on the other cases, but you know what? I'll do it again because why not? This is a face grease test. That's disgusting. So it's about 4:30 here. I've washed my face this morning, so that's what my face is like after a whole day. Probably your face is like that too, I don't know. But, you know, face grease does leave marks on the case, but it does just wipe off. So long as you're carrying some kind of tissue or cloth or something, or even just your t-shirt, it mostly just wipes off. Let me try my actual t-shirt because perhaps this isn't really doing that good a job. So yeah, my actual cotton t-shirt did a much better job of wiping the grease off of this phone. And yeah, that's pretty good. I don't think you'll have a concern with that, or any more of a concern than any other case. So as I said, this is going to have the same amount of bump protection and front glass protection and camera protection as the Aurora case. So if you want to see that, click the link below and check out the review for this case. What we could check though is the MagSafe strength, because that could vary from case to case. So I've got my Anker charger down there, and that feels really good. I think that's just the perfect amount of MagSafe. Not too much that it lifts the stand off. I mean, you can lift the stand off, but it's not gonna like lift off every time you need to take the phone off. Probably about the same amount of MagSafe as the original iPhone 16 Pro silicone case. So MagSafe is a go on this case as well. So all I have to say is that I'm really glad that Benks updated this case with a camera control button. Again, not that I use it very much, but it just makes the case look a lot better than just having a hole like they used to before. I will like, however, if Benks were to update their previous cases, like this Aurora case with the camera control button. I think that would be awesome, because I do like how this one looks better than the Prestige case. But, you know, looks are up to you. Looks are subjective. So you may like this one, especially if you have the Desert Titanium phone. I think this would look really good on that with the Desert Titanium coming through the camera cutout there. So I'm going to end it there. Thanks for watching. This video is sponsored by you liking and subscribing. So please go ahead and do that if you like the video or you want to see more from me. If you want to buy this case, the link will be below. And I don't get anything if you do that. But you can still use my discount code VINES15 and you get 15% off your entire shopping basket. Also, finally, just as a disclaimer, Benks did send this case to me for free to give them feedback, but no money changed hands. I'm not being paid anything for saying what I'm saying. All opinions are my own, and Benks have nothing to do with this review or what I'm saying. So with that, thanks very much for watching. Bye for now.